Hello everybody, my name is Kiana Whitlock and I am going to present over Module 15, which covers Stanley Deetz's critical theory of communication. This theory covers managerial approaches in huge corporations that end up affecting different aspects of our lives. So I am specifically going to talk about consent, which enables managers to have covert control over subordinates. Consent is the process by which employees actively fulfill a manager's agenda, willingly but unknowingly. So basically, their loyalty to a company pushes them to put out more than they receive in return and to go the extra mile for their company. So I grew up in a military family. My dad, my stepdad, and my mom were all in the Air Force. And my mom was in for 23 years, and so the first 18 years of my life, I was an Air Force brat. So I know that the Air Force is all about following protocol and a chain of command. A lot of people think that the military is all about overt control, where the manager says it'll be done this one way and that's it. Now, I've found that the Air Force kind of in a way functions through consent of subordinates to follow superior orders. And airmen will do what they've been told to do by a superior because they're following the chain of command. It is instilled in airmen what the flow of command is and why it is so important to do your part of the job. They follow this ideology instinctively because they have consented to the ways and expectations of the Air Force. They pretty much just know that that's the way it works in the Air Force because that's the way it's always been. So it's hard for me to pinpoint a certain experience, but I can think of countless times over the years that my mom has brought her work home, or the times my parents would both be on 12-hour shifts, one days and one nights, and my mom would still get up at 4 a.m. every day to be at work early, and she would more often than not stay hours later to get work done or to help others out. And this wasn't, something that I could think of that happened 4 or 5 times. This was almost an everyday thing. Now, she did all of this not because somebody told her she had to, but because she knew excellence was expected and she always delivered. So now that I've discussed some experiences, I'll make some inferences. I think that if an employee feels secure and comfortable in a workplace, then they will certainly be willing to fulfill their manager's interests by doing their jobs fully. When somebody feels like their work is worth something, they might always try to meet or exceed expectations. So to relate this to another experience, I'll talk about my life as an employee. So currently, I'm a behavior therapist for children with autism. Every so often, my supervisor sits me down and she'll show me graphs of a client's progress, ups and downs, what happened here. I always do my job to the best of my ability, but seeing that I'm helping a kid meet their goals fuels me to continue to fine-tune my intervention to make it the best possible for them. I don't have to do this, but I do extra work and research because I know that I'm making a difference. So in conclusion, the managerial approach using consent is very successfully used in corporations. Now, I think many can still get away with overt control, which is very rigid and controlled, but letting employees have more freedom and giving them the desire to do well for the company is a lot smoother for everyone. Now, we can see this approach in the classroom, workplace, and it's probably a way that people choose to parent as well. But this further proves Stanley Deetz's point that more and more aspects from big corporations are spilling over into everyday life. There's a well-known proverb that I think encapsulates covert control and consent well. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Thank you.